All right, thank you everyone. We're going to try to keep things sort of back onto schedule here. So I'm going to be quick, especially because we just had this whole panel kind of set up by colleagues of two of my panelists. So I think we can keep the setup to a minimum, and I'll invite out to the stage Will Amores from AT&T, Ettore Pulieri from Sparkle, Yogesh Ranade from Palo Alto, and David Kettle from Arcit. All right, gentlemen, in the interest of keeping it to a good time here, let's just have each of you, in turn, will start with a brief intro.
Yes, I'm Will Amores. I'm part of AT&T product management team responsible for network security.
Good morning to everyone. Ettore Pulieri. I'm working as a marketing product manager at Sparkle, and I'm driving emerging technologies like quantum safe connectivities, and the most recent product that we unveiled on Monday, the symmetric TLS for agentic AI.
Yogesh?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yogesh Ranade. I'm a senior director of product management at Palo Alto Networks. I'm part of the network security group within Palo Alto Networks and focus on SASE, specifically innovations in SASE for service providers and GSI partners, as well as I lead the Prisma SD-WAN portfolio of products.
All right, and David.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Kettle. I'm from Arcit. Arcit is an encryption company where you're heavily used by intelligence agencies, military, government. And our encryption is also quantum safe, so we work a lot with telcos into the quantum safe realm and launching services for their customers that are quantum safe.
Excellent. All right, so we've got a good representation of kind of the ecosystem, and our remit for this panel is bringing everything from SASE through to AI and quantum, right? So we're going to sort of take a little bit of the journey that we saw in these presentations. But I want to start with my carriers here, so we'll start with you. We do at TeleGeography a WAN manager survey, and we found that SASE adoption went very quickly. SD-WAN took a while for folks to get to that, especially once they've done SD-WAN. SASE seemed in our data like a no-brainer. Is that what you found with your customers?
Believe it or not, for most, yes, but our let's say Fortune 200 companies, they're still in the middle of that transformation.
Right. But they bought into it very quickly.
They bought into it.
Yeah.
They started with, desperate probably products. I know Annie mentioned earlier, probably multi-vendor approach, but they're still in that network transformation. For these big enterprises, it's really hard to transform a network, especially for a larger size. So they're still in the middle of that. We're seeing about 10% year over year as part of that journey where they're transforming from our old legacy implementation like private WAN, private VPN, into more of a SASE approach where everything's connected to the internet. But we're seeing that, and that's where they come into to providers asking for help of how that transformation looks like.
Yeah, it's very complex. Ettore, do you agree with that take?
Yes, at Sparkle we are in line with this view, in particular considering that the AI-driven threats are emerging. What we see is that the growing rate of SASE and SD-WAN is really high, but we see that there is fragmentation in the deployment that we see on our customer. So commonly there are deployments where customer implement, for example, web secure gateway or some specific implementation.
Right.
But what is missing is a real orchestration of the security. The security it seems to be still static perimeters. Instead, should be more network as a service, where it is possible to orchestrate policies and define a more fast adoption according to the also the emerging AI threats.
Yeah, excellent points. I mean, that's the thing with SASE is that it is a suite of services. The enterprises can sort of pick and choose from the menu, but then Yogesh, that's sort of your role coming in is doing that orchestration, right? How do you see that going for both through your managed services partners and the enterprises themselves?
Yeah, I think both what Will and Ettore kind of articulated. For me, the way I see it in terms of our customer adoption with SASE is I see two primary pathways that enterprises approach SASE adoption. One is network-led transformation to SASE, and this is where SD-WAN comes into play as to how you evolve into a next-generation secure branch initiative, such that all your users' devices in the branch, across branches, can seamlessly connect in a secure manner across all the various connectivity footprints. And this is where partners like telecom operators come into play, because ultimately they deliver connectivity to the enterprises. And then the second vantage point is more like a security-led motion in the enterprise, led by the CISOs, right? And this is more about hybrid workforce, SaaS application security, data security, AI access security. So I see two of these pathways towards SASE, and every customer is in their own journey, right? Depending on their priorities, depending on their business objectives, they generally tend to focus on one or a select set of use cases, then evolve to the next set of use cases. But ultimately for us, at least at Palo Alto Networks, that's why we believe in platformization, right? Giving them a platform approach with the flexibility to then carve out the right set of use cases based on applications that they want to secure across the various connectivity mediums that they deploy.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Years ago when the sort of SASE framework first was being brought out to the market, one of the things I was always hearing was that, it's the biggest challenge is getting the CISO and the network team to talk to each other and understand each other, and I think that's still the case.
Still the
right?
case.
Yeah.
Still the case.
Yeah,
I just want to add to, when it comes to SASE, part of it is CASB, Cloud Access Secure Brokerage, where we're securing assets in the cloud.
Right.
It's interesting, some of our enterprise are still in that journey, went to cloud, and going back to on-prem.
Yes.
And we got to adjust. We got to adjust from a security standpoint. That's where we partners with teams like Yogesh's team in Palo Alto Networks, because customer the needs for security can change, and we got to keep up with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely see the enterprises that I talk to. Almost all of them have some mix of private, public, and on-prem, and so that this is why you guys have a lot of work to do, right? Okay, so we're here at the Mplify conference. We have to talk a little bit about standardization. Again, particularly from the carrier perspective, we'll start there. I think. One, I want to sort of hear what you think the importance of standardization is. You're here, so you think it's important, right?
I think yes, definitely. Yeah. From a security standpoint, from a network security standpoint, I think the way we've approached this, security is still a team sport. It's not individual sport. So it's a team sport. So when customers have tools, they have to interoperate. Whether it's standardization on encryption, on APIs, or any other workloads that they might have, it's important that they interoperate, because with security, like I said, it's a team sport. We need unified security controls and be able to see at a holistic level and implement policies. So when it comes to standardization, I think customers might have different vendors, so it's important that they talk to each other so that our CISOs can understand what's happening in their environment.
Well, the presentation we saw is average 29 vendors or something like this, right? Yeah. Ettore, similar perspective there?
For a global carrier like Sparkle, standardization is the key pillar for our product. We operate as a carrier across different vendors, different technologies, different countries. So the interoperability is really important. To reach the interoperability, we need to follow the common rules in order to interoperate with our customers and company like Sparkle. For example, when it comes to security, we are driving inside Mplify the new standard for product attributes and use cases for quantum safe network that we are aiming to provide to the end customer in a network as a service manner. So it's really important to define common rules, common properties that will facilitate the adoption of the new technologies.
Absolutely. And we're going to get to quantum. I apologize, David, that we have a little break before we get to you. But one more question on the SASE and standardization, just for you, Yogesh, from the vendor perspective. So the carriers are usually doing the management and that sort of thing. What do you think the industry still needs to do to achieve true standardization?
Yeah, I can touch base from a product perspective and a vendor perspective. So first is like acknowledging that we are in a extremely multi-vendor ecosystem, right? So that kind of translates into a lot of product decisions for us. Interoperability is key. Automation is key. So standards effectively give us the enterprise customers specifically the confidence that our products work in conjunction with the other products that are in their deployments.
They're going to have to, right? Yeah.
It also gives confidence to the managed service providers, right? That out of the box, ideally, most of the product capabilities can be consumed, operationalized, and then offered to their enterprise customers, right? So those are kind of some of the key tenets that we drive to strive to interop with all the other products. And I think the GNE forum with the standards kind of driving that interop is pretty key. And now with the advancements of AI and agentic AI, standardizations, interoperability, programmability becomes even more fundamental, right? So that's kind of us. That's how we translate these into our product strategy and product requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. Still work to be done, right?
Still work to be done and always evolving.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's take a leap to quantum, huh?
Ooh, yeah, I like that. Quantum leap.
And go to you, David. We all know that enterprises are concerned with the harvest now, decrypt later kind of problem. But I first want you to help us all understand how we can prepare for quantum now before we have quantum, right? So,
yeah, I mean, quantum computers, the joke is that they're 5 years away for the last 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. But like driverless cars, I keep waiting for my driverless car.
But people don't understand, they are here today. They exist today. IBM will give you access online to a quantum computer. They exist today. They're just not powerful enough to do what everyone's concerned about.
Right.
Quantum computers are very good at certain things, and unfortunately, one of the things they're very good at is reverse engineering the maths that's used in the encryption we use for everything today, everything. And once they can break that, everything stops. Every financial transaction, everything you do becomes unencrypted. And knowing that, unfortunately, governments and bad actors are storing data now that they will be able to break in the future. And certainly there's a lot of data that has a very long shelf life. Pharmaceutical secrets, medical secrets, the name of intelligence assets are as important in 5 years' time as they are today. And if you can break them and get those pieces of information, that's really valuable. So that's what Store Now, Decrypt Later is.
How are you protecting against that now? So my question is along the lines of, if we don't have the computing power to create encryption that they'll be able to break, how do you bridge that gap? Is that possible?
You can't, no. You can't go back in time.
Right.
All the information that's out there now is gone. It will be broken by a quantum computer.
So
it will become...
We will live in that world someday. Right?
Yeah. So that will happen. The only thing you can do now is deploy quantum-proof encryption, which prevents that. So from this point going forward, your secrets are protected. You can't, unfortunately, go back in time.
I see. Yeah. So now from the whole panel, I want you to feel free to kind of like, wildly speculate. When do you think quantum is arriving. Is this something you follow?
Maybe.
5 years, is that the right answer? Yeah.
So I think that we should start, first of all, from the awareness of this new problem that will impact the digital infrastructure as we know today. Yeah. The digital infrastructure is at risk. Quantum computer will break completely the digital infrastructure. So if we see the different directives that are coming from major countries like UK, Europe, USA, Canada, the direction is that the organization, especially the critical sectors, should be ready to migrate to post-quantum cryptography by 2030. So 4 years from now. And it's a long journey because, first of all, every organization needs to identify where they are using the cryptography. One of the key points is to create the so-called cryptographic bomb, to identify in every sector, in every application, which one is the critical one that will be impacted by 2030. So we should not think that when a quantum computer will be available, we should realize that, as David was saying, the harvest now, decrypt later attack is happening already today, right now.
And there are two bits to the way quantum computers break encryption. It's the sheer power of the quantum computer, but it's also algorithms. They implement an algorithm, and both of those are moving forward. People are inventing new algorithms that make the quantum computer more efficient at breaking encryption, and then the computers themselves are becoming more powerful. So literally tomorrow, somebody could launch an algorithm which would allow the quantum computers that exist today to break encryption. That's theoretically possible.
In addition to, sorry, Greg.
Sorry, go ahead.
In addition to the encryption challenge with quantum, as a carrier, there's another thing that we're thinking about. If I want to have an analogy for human anatomy, today we have AI, which could be analogous to a brain. Your lungs could be analogous to data. Your heart is your network. So when it comes to AI into quantum, it's kind of what we're looking at. That heart needs to pump faster. So the network needs to keep up with when quantum does come in. So we got to build networks that can handle such more data, probably more massive than we can imagine today.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're talking about petabytes as high. I don't know if it's going to even go higher than that. But as from a carrier standpoint, we want to be prepared for that from a quantum perspective. And additionally, provide controls from a security standpoint, whether it's protecting from encryption or any other threats that maybe we haven't seen or thought of just yet. So that's kind of what we're thinking as well from a carrier standpoint.
Yogesh, so you had something to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, from a network security perspective, right? And particularly with advances of AI, with the massive amount of compute, the resources, quantum computers essentially will be fast-tracked. Right? To Ettore's point, we are not talking about decades, we're talking about years away. So once that happens, effectively all communication protocols, all from a network security perspective, all the tunneling protocols, all of them are susceptible. Data at rest, data in motion, everything is susceptible. So, and I think Ettore kind of articulated that it's essentially from an enterprise vantage point, you have to follow that understand, identify, and execute strategy, right? Understand the risks, understand the implications, identify the areas of impact, what the blast radius is, which systems are impacted, identify the processes and the people, right? That's kind of the key. And then execute in terms of strategy. What components need upgrades? What components cannot be upgraded to quantum safe? That's also important to your point of building an inventory of your systems. And then planning out a migration strategy, and that can involve upgrades, refresh cycles, because you need massive amount of compute, particularly in the context of security. So we've launched our firewalls with quantum safe encryption capabilities already, but that is a journey for the enterprise, right? You have to work with the enterprise, understand where they are. So essentially follow that playbook and go through the rigor of going through and identifying areas of impact, the blast radius, and then putting mitigation strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. David, this is ostensibly one of the things you're doing here, but do you see the need for still more education into both the industry and the enterprises themselves to understand this looming threat?
It's moved on really a lot. You know, if you compare even to 12 months ago, people were very unaware of the quantum threat and were sort of, even if they were aware, they weren't willing to do anything about it. That has definitely changed in the last 12 months. And you see a lot with, you know, people like Palo Alto are doing exactly that. They're allowing people like us to put our keys into their equipment, which if you're a Palo Alto user, you can turn your existing network quantum safe. You can do that relatively easily now. And, but it's something that people need to start and be going down that track, because it's not quick, especially, you know, the telcos are out there. You've all got massive networks which take a long time to protect.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so with our remaining minutes, we also have to get to AI. We have to, right? So you know, first I want to sort of just look at, again, from the enterprise network kind of perspective, as we saw, I think, a statistic in an earlier presentation that like 78% of enterprises do have some kind of AI tools running. We also heard that 95% of them fail. So given that it's early days and that there's going to be some bumps on the road of the enterprise adoption, we also, of course, not just thinking about how they can leverage AI, but need to think about what new security risks AI opens up. So Will, you want to start us there?
Yes. We're seeing that a lot from our customers, and we see a lot because we see a lot of the demand for connectivity. I know I mentioned earlier, like network and connectivity is like the heart that feeds the brain, right? When it comes to AI and processing. So from a security standpoint, from a network security standpoint, it's important for us that this internet connection that they buy from a carrier like AT&T or Sparkle or any of our other carriers across the globe, that doesn't stay as a threat vector. Because we know for security, the number one probably threat vector is really your internet connection that connects to everything. So we want to be able to provide customers that with that connection, some built-in security tools to mitigate some of the AI threats, whether it's prompt injection, whether some privacy concerns, or whether some stealing of data, right? So when it comes to those kind of threats or risks that the customers face, we want to, you know, as a carrier, we want to use that internet connection as another tool for them to mitigate those threats.
Do we have the tools now, or are they going to have to emerge? I mean, like MCP had to emerge for AI adoption. Is that similar things for security? Yeah.
That's why it's really key to work together, because I mentioned earlier with cybersecurity, it's a team sport. We work with partners like Palo Alto to make sure we're seeing what the threats are, but also being able to take action on those threats. So it's here.
Yogesh, this is your area, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can definitely touch base on AI and security intersections. I think for us, fundamentally, what we see is the rapid adoption of AI, both on our personal lives as well as in the corporate life, right? So generative AI, agentic AI, automation using AI. So the first thing that we have seen from our customer base is kind of like a binary decision, right? Which is we're going to block as a corporate policy all AI applications, or we're going to allow all applications because we have no visibility into what my employees are accessing, what applications are being accessed. I have no tools. So as part of our network security platform, that's the first problem we kind of address, right? Which is to give our enterprise customers comprehensive visibility into the AI landscape. Every user, every device, every network accessing what types of AI applications.
That sounds like a big job.
Right. And then classifying those applications, right? Are these generative AI applications? Are these developer tools?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the employees, particularly on the software development side of things, IT development, are using generative AI tools and for productivity gains for the employee as well as the organization. So classifying those different AI applications and then giving an overview of the threat aspect of each and every AI application through that single pane of glass. Once you give that visibility, then the enterprise admin, particularly the security admins, can define the guardrails that they want to apply to translate those applications into sanctioned apps or unsanctioned apps, right? And then selectively curate which applications can they extend to all their employees. So that's kind of what we have. And then to your point about MCP, I think MCP kind of enables automation, right? It's like the fundamental architecture construct for agentic AI. So agent-to-agent communication kind of becomes another interesting area.
It's going to be whack-a-mole here.
And the way I see this evolve is identity becomes a key, right? Today you identify a user or a device by its identity. How do you identify agents? So identity becomes like the fundamental pillar of defining the security construct around. So ensuring your agents have unique identities, and I foresee like then there would be a need for an organization level identity construct as well, right? So having that taxonomy is something that I think the standards is something that they should also work on.
Ettore, thoughts as well?
Yes, I think that I can build on top of this, starting from considering the rising of the agentic AI. So if we consider that we will have in the near future billion and billion of agentic AI that will communicate between each other. Today, the MCP sit on top of the standard HTTPS and TLS. So who is securing this protocol that is not quantum safe by definition?
Right.
In this moment, probably nobody. What we did in Sparkle, I think that we are advanced in this area, is, as Yogesh was saying, finding a way to provide identity to the agentic in order to trust them when they are talking with another entity, an autonomous entity, but also to add, replace the standard TLS connection with a quantum safe connectivity. If you think standard TLS or standard internet was built for human, not for machine, based on static certificate, hard-coded token, centralized trust. If you think that you need to replace the certificate, renew the certificate, revocate the certificate, when this will be applied to an agentic AI, will be impossible. What we defined and we unveiled last Monday here at GNE, we defined a new solution that is able to provide crypto identity and quantum safe communication to each agentic AI that would like to communicate with another entity. It's a solution that can provide through, for example, a bootstrap key that is generated inside the agent, a dynamic trust. It's like a certificate that at every authentication is refreshed and never expire unless the owner of the orchestrator will say, okay, you are compromised, you cannot generate symmetric keys. So at Sparkle, we have identified an initial solution that can be adopted for this purpose.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't envy you guys in a way. There's a lot to digest here. We have just like 30 seconds left. David, do you have any parting thoughts for us?
No, I echo completely what Ettore just said. It's the ability to at scale, and that's the thing. With billions of endpoints, are you really going to use certificates? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
You know, so what Sparkle have done is really, really innovative. That's definitely worth looking at.
Yeah, and good to have it here at GNE to
Yeah.
spread throughout the industry and make sure that we can start to get on the same page. So, excellent. Well, we are out of time. Thank you all for watching, and thank my panelists, please.